as we look forward to another year in our national life, I am more than confident that our tomorrow will be better than our yesterday and today. Nigeria has got the human and material resources to excel, and we shall lead the way in that journey to our manifest destination.
Good evening. Welcome to Nigeria at 54, Path to Nationhood. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Good evening and happy Independence Day. I'm Maokwe Ogun.
Well, that was how the president ended his speech, his Independence Day broadcast earlier today, with that upbeat tone, as some have described it. A little different from the previous speech, which he delivered last year, which he also made reference to how that he had said at the time that, yes, we were in some kind of somber mood, and then to some extent continues in that respect this year as well. But he went on to highlight some of the things that they have achieved so far, and then he also did say, well, yes, that part you heard, that he believes that the country will be better. The future, he says, will be better. And
I think that's the tone for many Nigerians, the fact that we should be and we are on the path to greatness if we keep working at our differences. Remember that last year, there had been so many terrorist attacks before the celebration last year. I was making reference to the president's speech last year when he admitted that we seem to be divided religiously, ethnically. And that was one of the reasons why he called for the advisory committee on the Sovereign National Conference just a year before we marked 100 years this year. And now this year we've marked 100 years. We've had the committee submit its report. In fact, the National Conference has been held, and they've submitted their reports and recommendations. And this year he seems to be building on it, talking about how this is the greatest gift that we've given to ourselves, the National Conference and its submissions. And he said that he's going to be implementing that the reports, the recommendations from that National Conference. I think he talked about the Attorney General chairing a presidential ministerial committee looking at the recommendations. So let's see how we build forward. It can only get better, Chamberlain. It will only get better.
Well, the president did also enjoin all Nigerians that we ought to pull together so that we can also continue to steer the ship of state to its course, as our founding fathers initially did say. So he wants us to continue in that state. So today we have a lineup of guests for you who will touch on a wide range of issues. We also will have representation from the younger generation. They've got to make their 2 cents of what's going on at 54 the country is now at the moment. So we'll be back in just a moment.
The Boko Haram sect has in no unmistaken terms declared a total war on Nigeria and Nigerians. We must come out with clear, concise, and unequivocal mission statement on how to win this war. We must, as a matter of urgency, fish out all the financiers of these terrorists and all collaborators, wherever they are, and bring them to book.
Nigeria's Senate President, himself a retired Major General of the Nigerian Army, giving directives against the Boko Haram sect. The security challenges in the country, particularly in the northeast region, has given rise to the defense sector taking the lion's share of the nation's total budget of about 20%. This puts the defense budget at 968.127 billion naira. Security experts query the implementation of the increased budget allocation. Their worry is that it has not had very much impact on the defense sector as the battle against insurgency in northern Nigeria continues, with many deaths of civilians, the insurgents, and even the soldiers.
This nation, we all know that the defense budget is the highest, the budget. And it has been like that from the 60s. Defense budget has always been the highest among other ministries. If they say the budget for defense this year is 100 billion, and then the 100 billion is not to go to a particular pocket. It's supposed to be used for equipment. You understand? So now, the world is fast civilizing. The civil war we fought, like people going to the bush to fight, it's not done again.
If you look at our concerns and our engagement from 2012 to 2013, I think there's a disconnect between able to sustain that logistics operational requirements with the kind of budget we had. And I would have thought that that concern should have been brought up by the legislature itself that has oversight oversight responsibilities of the military.
Internal insecurity is not a problem unique to Nigeria, and the questions raised about its handling range from how the threats are managed, how our resources deployed against the threats, how patriotic and united are the people against threats.
I told you I ran into some soldiers that said, we will be there, and we will even see this Boko Haram face to face, but we cannot open fire because we've not gotten order from the commander. He said, our field commander said he's waiting for orders. That I've called the battalion commander, I've called the battalion commander, said he's waiting for the brigade commander. The brigade commander said he's waiting for the orders of the GOC and the chief of army staff. And those ones who say they are waiting for chief of defense staff. And the chief of defense staff, of course, will still say he's waiting for the commander-in-chief, which is the president. So how will this work? Before you know it, the Boko Haram has overrun them.
It is even more scary as the case of mutiny surfaces at this time.
The government itself should find out what is happening within the military hierarchy, the top hierarchy, and where the sabotage is coming from. You saw in the other day that a pilot took off. If a pilot, a jet fighter is taking off, he has a target. So the man went and attacked his own barracks. So there is problem somewhere within the military circle.
Tackling crimes like armed robbery, kidnapping, communal clashes, even piracy on the sea, perhaps may not be new to the Nigerian security. But 5 years down the line, the terror of insurgency has remained a hydra-headed problem yet to be nipped. However, hopes are high that the end is soon to come to terrorism with the claims of the death of Boko Haram leader imposter Abubakar Shekau. Loretta Chiogo, Channels Television News.